Sprockets. Best German Television presents Sprockets mit your host, Dieter.
Welcome to Sprockets. I am your host, Dieter.
Awful than the culturally bankrupt Euro Disney. And we're going to add...
Your story has become tiresome. Now's the time on Sprockets when we die. My guest has been cross-checked. My name is Dieter. I'll be the man.
How's my sound, ladies? How's my sound there? So hello to Crab Apple in the ROKFIN chat, along with Claire Mathis in the ROKFIN chat. And I see Claire's been doing some fancy things, like connecting her wallet. I'll have to ask her about that. And also, I did get that message from Claire Mathis about her vision of Alex Stein, Primetime 99 Alex Stein, and it was hilarious. And I hope that one day she'll be able to share it with all of us. So for right now, I was in the Last American Vagabond chat today, and that's Ryan Christian on ROKFIN / Last American Vagabond, and Yona, my friend Yona, who you've just seen on the stream. Our last stream was with Yona. He was in there, and through Kismet and magic and fate and destiny, all these wonderful things, we came up with, well, you'll see, because we're going to explain it together, but we came up with this evening for you on the fly, like boom, boom, let's do this. And we're doing it, and you're here with us, and we thank you. This is Occult Priestess's very first ROKFIN live stream premium edition, which means, you know, you got to be here doing the thing with us, participating to be a part of this. So I just wanted it a little, just us, you know what I mean? No pressure, because it's on the fly. So I'm going to bring the music down, and I'm going to bring our wonderful guest host, co-host, Mr. Yona.
Woohoo! Hey, everybody.
It's all about welcome to the Soylent Green. I got my Soylent Green apartment. I got my roommate here in my Soylent Green apartment. How you doing there? You're looking fancy tonight. You look fancy tonight.
Oh my God! It looks like your roommate just comes with the room.
I think she does. I think she does. But we're fighting over the strawberries, Yona. We don't know who's going to get the last one.
I present you my beautiful 70s chair with the 70s embroidered shirt, pockets galore. Got the pleats going on here. Oh, yeah.
That's hot. That's hot. You're ready.
I got me a cold can of Tab here ready to drink in the pink can.
Looking at your Farrah Fawcett poster.
Yo, boogeyman, boogeyman. That's what I am. I'm your boogeyman. That's what
I love Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Woohoo! All right. So, turns out it's already kind of like a Soylent Green world we live in, folks. Because, you know, have you been buying any meat lately? No offense to the vegans out there. Vegan food prices have the inflation of the food cost for real food and the other things they sell at the grocery store that's in the food aisle. Call it what you want. Not much on the chemical cuisine, but most people around here, it's cheaper to go dollar menu at Wendy's and McDonald's or anything. So people are already getting McSoylent. I'll have a McSoylent with a McFry and a McShake, you know.
And they entrain you for that in high school, in all school, actually, at the lunch line. All they're doing is driving their cars up to the lunch line. I had that epiphany one day, and I was so upset about it. Like, oh my God, everything's a monopoly board. We're living in a monopoly board. And it just drove me nuts.
I just picture Soylent Green as a rectangle-shaped pizza. Remember that rectangle pizza? Oh, how could you forget?
I love the edges that were like burnt.
Yeah. Well, let's eat the middle of it, then leave the rind.
Yes. Let's get into Ryan. So everybody, LastAmericanVagabond.com. He's going to explain to us for quite a bit of a segment. I just clipped this like a half hour ago. Okay, you guys. And so forgive me if I was dreaming when I wrote this. So forgive me. We're going to add Ryan to the stream. And he's going to explain to us, and please check my sound, you guys, if you can hear it, because sometimes, you know, things go weird, obviously, especially with us. Haha, things go weird, W-Y-R-D.
Oh, and prayers for Gonzalo Liro and all of his cherished family members and friends down in the country of Chile. And all, of course, all of his friends and compatriots and journalism worldwide. Our thoughts and prayers are with him, and hopefully his safe return. We hold out hope.
And Claire Mathis commented on ROKFIN, food prices are ridiculous, and I ain't a vegan. You go, girl. I hear you. Okay, so here we're bringing it over to Ryan Christian. If you cannot hear it, let me know, and I'll fiddle around.
Unfortunately, guys, I am going to skip even though it's in the title, I'm going to skip this last part. I just want to focus on one last part here about the manufacturing or manufactured supply issues. And this is just one main focal point that I want to discuss here, because we've already gone over this extensively, and it's very obvious how this is being created. As this points out, Black Swan event, top U.S. fertilizer producer hits with rail delays to the Mideast. Now, what we're talking about here is the fact that they have created a situation in the midst of what they're telling you is a food shortage because Putin, gas hikes because Putin. They take an arbitrary choice that ensures that they will produce less in the midst of that problem, whether or not it's Putin's fault. So whose fault is that? They're sure as hell gonna blame it on Russia, but is it? A fertilizer supply shock is imminent for U.S. farmers as CF Industries Holdings, Inc. warned Thursday that rail shipments of crop nutrients will be reduced to top agricultural states, which couldn't come at the worst time for the Northern Hemisphere. Spring planting season is underway. The world's largest fertilizer company said Union Pacific had hit it specifically with railroad mandated shipping reductions that would impact nitrogen for fertilizers, such as the specific kinds, urea and urea ammonium nitrate shipments to Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, and California. Why? Union Pacific told CF Industries without advance notice to reduce the volume of private cars on its railroad immediately. This means CF Industries had to decrease shipments by a whopping 20% to stay compliant. Now, you could argue, well, hey, maybe that's CF Industries, maybe the Union Pacific, maybe they're getting hit with stuff and they're trying to man their own. Okay, fine. I don't believe that, but I argue if that's the case and we're so concerned about food shortages, which, by the way, we should be from a governmental level, that they should be from a governmental level, if they care that even a 20% reduction is going to kill people, starve to death, why wouldn't they find a way around it? Well, because all they're going to blame Putin. They want it to get as bad as possible so they can say Putin did it. It's not our fault, which is pretty childish an argument when you really think about it, as well as to say, well, we knew it doesn't work anymore. We have to reimagine the future because this doesn't work. It works perfectly for them. The bottom line is, if this was a thing that was going to happen, or even if it's right now happening, there's 1,000 ways they could work around this to make sure that fertilizer got to these people that needed it. It's not what's happening, though. Quote, the timing of this action by Union Pacific could not come at a worse time for farmers, said Tony Will, President and Chief Executive Officer of CF Industries. Quote, not only will fertilizer be delayed by these shipping restrictions, arbitrary, by the way, but additional fertilizer needed to complete spring applications may be unable to reach farmers at all. By placing this arbitrary restriction on just a handful of shippers, clearly specifically chosen, Union Pacific is jeopardizing farmers' harvests and increasing the cost of food consumers. Don't miss the most important part, just a handful of shippers. Are you really pretending like it makes sense? They just said, well, let's just pick this one that's going to affect all of them and their ability to produce food. Wouldn't it make sense to pick a different car or a different company that wasn't as integral part to the whole thing? I mean, that seems like a pretty selective choice that guarantees you're going to have shortages that they can then blame on Putin, doesn't it? Either way, even this company is calling it arbitrary and saying that they're just choosing arbitrarily these specific ones that are going to destroy this whole situation. I bet you none of this gets pointed out in any mainstream press on any side. The move is particularly problematic for the Midwest, where 90% of corn and 80% of soybeans are produced in the United States. Think about that. If you have even a 10% reduction in either of those, people will starve to death. The region in a crucial node of the global food system, and I'm not even just talking about the United States, by the way, and tightening the fertilizer supply will only drive up food prices. Now, even if that's all it does, driving up food prices will cause more food scarcity. You will see this translate to death. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or fear-mongering. That's just the reality, guys. Farmers have been pressured by record high fertilizer and diesel costs. And because all Putin, right? It's Putin's price hike. Oh, but wait a minute. That started long before this got here, and the most of it happened before this even started. But who cares? Pelosi said it was Putin, so therefore it's Putin. CF Industries released an ominous warning about the lack of fertilizer across the Mideast this year and how it may cause food supply woes. The ones that we've been predicting. The ones like Christian Westbrook have been predicting for a long time. If farmers are unable to secure all the nitrogen fertilizer that they require in the current season because of supply chain disruptions, such as rail shipping restrictions, arbitrary ones, the company expects yields will be lower. Quote, this will likely extend the timeline to replenish global grain stocks. So you'd see there's a lasting effect that goes way beyond just the local situation or even the national situation. Low global grain stocks continue to support high front month and forward prices for nitrogen consuming crops, which has contributed to higher food prices. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I'm not saying this isn't something that couldn't happen or that could happen or could not happen organically. What I'm saying is it doesn't seem that anybody cares about doing anything about it. It's like we've all just accepted this because it's easy to blame somebody over there. In response to record high fertilizer costs and tight supply, some farmers have already transitioned millions of acres from corn to soybeans this year, just because soybeans, very little fertilizer versus corn.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Nick at barbend.com. Today I'm going to be reviewing the meal replacement powder from Soylent. So Soylent is one of the best known meal replacement shakes on the market. It was founded in 2013, and despite some people saying that they can live on Soylent for days at a time, it's actually not meant to replace all of your meals. Soylent, for the full review, just Google Barbend plus Soylent.
New York City, 50 years from today. Nothing runs, nothing works.
They gave me a quarter of a kilo.
But people are the same, and people will do anything to get what they need. What they need most is Soylent Green. Simonson, board of directors of the Soylent Corporation, murdered because he discovered the secret of Soylent Green. Detective Thorne, he's got to find out what Simonson knew. Saul Roth.
I've got
They're
one I
making
can
our food out
see.
of people. Next thing they'll be breeding us like cattle for food. You gotta tell them. You got.
Well, just he didn't want a cell phone around his head. Felt like it would be putting waves up into his skull and shit. So if you need to talk to Prince, you got to call one of his people who had a cell phone. He didn't have a cell phone. He said, "Fuck a bunch of cell phones." And me, you know, obviously I have a cell phone, but I normally keep it at least 3 feet away. I never, ever put a cell phone up to my ear. Never. I always use speakerphone if I have to.
Well, ROKFIN tells me we've got 22 people still watching the chat, and I want to thank you all for being out there and joining us this evening. We got tipped by our beautiful Crab Apple. Hello. I'll see you in chats probably tomorrow, darling. And Shadow Band Refugee, right? Who had to go to bed because they had stuff to do. So that's cool. But I did want to thank all the tippers. And I can't believe we still have people all watching. And so if you guys, we could give you a minute if you want to type something in the chat, because we'd love to talk to you in particular. Right? We'd love to talk with the audience. It's a little weird.
Interact with our homies here.
Because we're kind of in a fishbowl. This is the way I used, like when I was a tarot reader, I literally was in a fishbowl. Like there was a window, you could see me, but you had to walk into my room to actually interact with me. And this is what this feels like. Like walking in the room equals typing, basically. Otherwise, you're a voyeur.
You know what?
And I want to also shout out FreemanTV.com, who came by tonight and totally surprised us, but especially me. And that was so cool of him. So thank you, FreemanTV.com.
Thank you, Freeman. Watto.
All right, well, we're gonna go out. We're gonna stop the stream. I do have to eat dinner. It is now 9.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to go on and on. Thanks.
No, I want you. That's why I gave you a floor, dude. So you did great. Thank you so much. So it's 9:42 p.m. 4/18/2022. And we hope to see you guys on the next ride. If you have a suggestion for what movie Yona and I should play next, let either of us know. And please follow us on Twitter. I am at Occult Priestess.
And
you
I am at Yona Aniwodi. You can find me at Yona Aniwodi on the Twitter, Yona Aniwodi on the Facebook, Yona Aniwodi on the PayPal for the donationally inclined. It's there right beside the river Styx.
Yeah, that's Hades.
Back to you, Red Eagle.
So if you missed my Native American naming ceremony, please tune in to the very last live stream that Yona and I did like a day and a half ago, so that you can find why they call me now Red Eagle. All right. So thank you for joining us this evening. We love you. And hopefully be talking to you soon. Mwah. Good night.
Blessings to all. Wejadoligi.
See the entire show and the film at ROKFIN Premium. ROKFIN.com/Occult Priestess. Thank you for watching. Blessed be and namaste.